The story opens with the idea that a star remains a star as long as it holds its light, even when buried and unseen. This idea reflects the life of Vlad, a poor boy living in the slums of Shwara, a great northern city ruled by the powerful Vezid family. Vlad often stands outside a blacksmith's shop, staring at a sword mounted on the wall. On one such day, he remains there for hours, lost in thought, until Jamina approaches him. She tells him she knew she would find him there again, gazing at the same sword as always. She notices that he has been spacing out more lately. Vlad warns her not to push him, but Jamina insists people have started talking about him. When he demands to know what they are saying, she panics and changes the subject. She asks him whether he still hears voices when he holds a stick. Vlad does not answer, and his silence confirms her fear. Jamina nervously recalls the strange day when black lightning struck Vlad from a clear sky, wondering aloud what terrible deeds he might have committed in a past life. Many people witnessed that unnatural event, and the rumors have never stopped spreading. She warns him that the new bishop in Shwara is a former heresy inquisitor, a man with sharp instincts for the supernatural. If the bishop suspects Vlad, he would burn him without hesitation. Vlad feels despair at the reality of the danger and is hurt by Jamina's blunt words. But she explains that she speaks harshly because she is afraid for him. She urges him to stop staring at the sword in public, reminding him that the church is always watching. Vlad refuses to act like a criminal just for admiring a weapon. Frustrated, Jamina sarcastically tells him to buy the sword if he loves it so much. Vlad calmly replies that it costs 5 gold coins. Jamina is stunned and lists all the things that amount of money could buy, pointing out that she would not have to work for a year if she had that much. Their argument draws the attention of the old blacksmith, who storms outside after overhearing Jamina insult the sword. He angrily declares that the blade is not for street kids and orders them to leave. Jamina fires back, mocking him and asking who he expects to buy such an expensive sword in the slums. When she calls him old, the blacksmith explodes with rage, accusing her of having no respect. Jamina pushes further, teasing that he only makes swords for decoration now because he is too old to forge real weapons. The blacksmith shouts that she is not wrong, insults her intelligence, and tells her to go scrub dishes in her shop. Jamina snaps back that she is a grown woman, deeply offended. Vlad pulls her away to stop the argument, though she grumbles that she said nothing wrong. The blacksmith continues ranting behind them, calling Jamina rotten and recalling how he once spoiled her as a child when they were all poor. After his anger cools, the blacksmith notices deep footprints pressed into the dirt. From them, he realizes Vlad has been standing there for hours, staring at the sword. He mutters that the boy should work more and dream less. With a tired sigh, he removes the sword from the wall, deciding to sell it to someone who will truly use it. He believes children from the slums grow up to become nothing. Yet Vlad reminds him of the sword itself, a hidden spark buried in the dirt. Shwara stands as the northern heartland of the powerful Vezid family, a city that shines like a lighthouse from afar while casting deep shadows where the unwanted gather. In those shadows, cruelty is common and survival often demands violence. Inside a filthy tavern, a shirtless mercenary drags a woman by her hair, accusing her of selling fake medicine. He boasts about his 20 years as a mercenary and claims he can tell the medicine is false. Vlad arrives and is immediately mocked as the candlemaker. The mercenary demands to see the madam, but Vlad calmly explains that meetings with her require gold, not silver. The mercenary grows angrier, ranting about how the business is failing and insulting Vlad's mother. He complains that the candles burn too fast. Vlad responds sharply, telling him that longer burn times cost more and suggesting he should return to his wife instead. The insult pushes the mercenary toward violence, but Vlad offers a deal. He proposes to test a candle on the spot. If it burns incorrectly, the mercenary can do whatever he wants with the woman. But if it works as promised, Vlad will beat him. After hesitating, the mercenary agrees. The candle burns exactly the promised time before going out. The moment it does, Vlad attacks without mercy. He smashes the mercenary's face with a wooden staff, declares that the candles work perfectly, and kicks him across the room. Vlad locks him in another room and beats him brutally, punishing him for trying to scam the shop and for insulting his mother. The sound of pounding echoes through the streets. The next morning, Vlad sits at breakfast with Jorge and casually mentions that someone must have tampered with the candles. Madame Marcella overhears and erupts in fury, demanding to know who did it. Vlad admits he has no proof. To his shock, Marcella grins and admits that she herself tampered with the candles to cheat drunk customers for extra money. Despite living in the slums, she is stunning and confident. Vlad is shaken by the realization that he beat the mercenary for no real reason. He pushes down his guilt, telling himself he was simply doing his job. Later, a group of men approaches, led by Bure, who slaps Vlad on the back and praises his work from the previous night. Bure demands money, having heard that Vlad made good coins from candle sales. When Vlad snaps at him, Beret laughs and claims he has something to offer. He drags forward a young boy by the hair, calling him a useless thief. Vlad recognizes the boy as Ned and immediately asks whether his fingers and ankles are intact. Beret assures him the boy was only beaten, not maimed. Vlad pays 40 silvers to free Ned and warns Beret to deal with thieves themselves next time. Beret laughs, claiming they are not killers, and leaves satisfied with the easy money. Alone, Vlad scolds Ned for being careless, then tells him to leave once he confirms the boy is unharmed. Ned thanks him and runs off. Vlad sighs, realizing his dream of saving 5 gold coins for the sword has slipped even further away. Later, Vlad speaks with Harvin, who works under Captain Hoover, known as the Whale Hunter. Harvin remembers when he himself was caught stealing as a child and punished brutally, losing fingers and having his ankles slashed while Vlad and Jamina watched helplessly. Harvin mentions the rumors spreading about tampered candles and suspects there must be a serious reason behind it. He warns that the only reason to gather money urgently in the slums is preparation for war. He lists the 5 powerful figures who control Squara's underworld and urges Vlad to be careful. And that day, one-armed Jack, the money grubber himself, arrives at Vlad's shop asking for his boss. Vlad freezes, staring at Jack and wondering whether the war has already begun. One of one-armed Jack's men, a scar-faced thug with his hair tied back in a ponytail, snaps Vlad out of his thoughts with a sharp bark. He insults Vlad for staying silent and demands to know where his boss is. Vlad's expression hardens, but his voice remains calm as he replies that he does not know, explaining that he is only a candle seller. The thug grows impatient, slamming his fist onto a table and sending candles scattering across the floor. Vlad does not flinch. He simply meets the man's stare, refusing to show fear. Around them, the workers freeze in terror, especially the women, who stand wide-eyed and silent as the tension thickens. Without warning, Vlad drops to one knee and begins gathering the broken candles from the floor, treating them as if nothing unusual is happening. He casually announces that the shop is closed for the day. The thug, unused to being ignored, bristles with rage. Vlad calmly asks the man to move his feet. That final dismissal pushes the thug over the edge. He tries to kick Vlad while he is crouched down. Vlad reacts instantly. His wooden staff snaps out, striking the thug's leg and throwing him off balance. Before the man can recover, Vlad delivers a clean, powerful blow to his face, knocking him flat. The room falls into stunned silence. While the others stare in disbelief, one-armed Jack breaks into a wide grin. Clearly entertained by the display, Vlad rises to his feet, his blue eyes glowing faintly as he presses the end of his staff against the thug's face. The message is unspoken but clear. In the slums, strength decides who stands tall. Jack's men bristle, ready to attack, but their boss raises his metal hook and stops them. Amused, Jack applauds with one hand and openly appraises Vlad. When Vlad responds bluntly to Jack's remark, showing no reverence even toward his disability, Jack laughs instead of taking offense. Stepping closer, he taps Vlad's face with the hook and asks whether Vlad remembers who Jack once took from him. Vlad replies coldly that whoever it was must have died early, because he remembers nothing. Before the exchange can go further, one of Jack's men calls out a warning. Jorge arrives with his own men, greeting Jack with dry humor. Their exchange is polite but edged with tension. Jorge offers hospitality, and Jack agrees, intrigued rather than trusting. Jack's crew helps the injured thug up, and the two groups head upstairs together. Only after they leave does the tight grip of fear loosen. Vlad exhales deeply and finishes collecting the broken candles, quietly counting the loss. Soon after, Jack calls down to him, referring to him as a shining star. The meeting upstairs ends without violence. Jack tells Vlad that both Jorge and Marcella spoke highly of him, and offers Vlad a place in his crew if he ever grows tired of selling candles. Vlad refuses politely, explaining that his current work provides stability. Jack laughs and tosses Vlad a gold coin to pay for the broken candles, stunning him with the generosity. Jack reminds him there's much more money to be made and leaves in high spirits. Vlad watches Jack go, unsettled by how cheerful the crime lord seems. Moments later, Jamina calls for him, saying Jorge wants to see him. Vlad joins Jorge and Marcella in a private room, where his attention is immediately caught by a rare and valuable dagger. Jorge admits he had planned to gift it later, but events have moved too quickly. He insists Vlad keep it with him at all times. The heavy mood makes it clear the meeting with Jack went poorly. Jorge then delivers grim news. Vlad is to stop selling candles. Confused, Vlad asks what he is meant to do instead. Jorge explains that Jack has begun bringing outsiders into the slums, experienced mercenaries, likely former knights. These men are dangerous, trained, and disciplined. Jack was already powerful, but with warriors of that caliber, the balance of power is breaking. Jorge admits that they are already on the losing side, and that is precisely why they need Vlad. He tells Vlad that his first mission will come soon. The speed of it all leaves Vlad stunned. Later, as he tries to clear his mind, Vlad thinks of Harvin, a man crippled as a child, yet who rose through intelligence and perseverance. Harvin's life stands as proof that effort and learning can change one's fate. Inspired, Vlad trains with his wooden staff. As he practices, the voice returns, the same quiet, unsettling presence that has haunted him since the day black lightning struck him from a clear sky. The voice calmly suggests a small adjustment to his elbow angle. Vlad grows irritated and tries to ignore it. He reminds himself that he should buy holy water before even thinking about the sword he longs for. Gripping his staff, he resolves not to listen. He focuses, prepares to strike, and at the last moment the voice speaks again, offering the same precise correction. Against his will, Vlad follows the advice. The result shocks him. It's a perfect sword arc. The strike is cleaner, stronger, and more natural than any he has ever made. For a brief moment, it feels as though he is wielding a real blade instead of wood. The realization unsettles him. Whatever has lodged itself in his mind is dangerous, but it may also be the key to mastery. High in a frozen mountain range, a lone knight wipes blood from his blade as snow falls around him. The cold bites deep into his bones, and he mutters that only real experience teaches what winter truly feels like. His armor and bearing mark him unmistakably as a knight. When he hears movement nearby, he smirks and calls out the unseen watcher, mocking them for thinking they could hide from him. He strides toward the sound and demands they reveal themselves. A calm voice answers, asking whether he is Sir Stenger, the Scar-faced knight. It is Vlad, and his pale hair and piercing blue eyes stand out even in the snow. Stenger remarks that Vlad looks more like a noble than someone from the slums, but Vlad ignores the comment and hands him a sealed letter from his superior, Jorge. Stenger reads the letter, and a faint smile forms. He understands why Jorge has reached out. His enemies now employ a mercenary who once served as a knight. Vlad explains that he has been assigned to guide Stenger back and believes they can reach their destination within 2 nights. When Vlad turns to lead the way, Stenger mocks him, saying he would never trust someone so foolish to guide him. Vlad insists he knows the route, but Stenger stares him down with piercing purple eyes and issues a chilling condition. If Vlad forgets even one turn, he will kill him. Vlad does not flinch. He narrows his eyes, tells Stenger to keep up, and walks off without waiting. Stenger watches him go, surprised by the boy's nerve. He realizes this fearless resolve must be what Jorge sees in him and decides to follow. That night, they shelter in a small cave and light a fire. An awkward silence settles between them. Stenger notices Vlad stealing glances and asks why he is staring as if he has never seen a retired knight before. Vlad admits it is his first time seeing one up close. Stenger scoffs and calls him a country bumpkin. Vlad ignores the insult and asks where Stenger comes from. When Stenger says Dacia, Vlad blurts out that it sounds rural, offending him. Stenger changes the subject with another sharp warning about getting lost, but Vlad calmly tells him to stop saying such terrifying things and remarks that every night's joke sounds like a threat. Stenger's attention drifts to the food Vlad unwraps. He eyes the fresh beef jerky and asks whether there is any for him. Vlad says Jorge did not provide extra and asks what Stenger brought. The knight shows a few scraps of dried meat, clearly unimpressed. Vlad roasts his jerky over the fire, and the rich smell fills the cave. Unable to resist, Stenger offers a deal. He will answer any question in exchange for a piece of jerky. With his mouth full, Vlad tells him he could have just asked. Stenger scowls, explaining that his pride will not allow him to beg. Knights, he says, live by a code of exchange. Vlad points out he is retired, but Stenger insists the code still defines him. Vlad accepts the deal and begins questioning him, asking his name and age. Stenger says he is 42. When Vlad continues without handing over food, Stenger snaps at him. Vlad moves on and asks whether Stenger can use aura. Stenger laughs, noting Vlad knows more than he should, and explains that having aura and controlling it are different things. Vlad presses for a direct answer. Stenger stalls, smiling, until Vlad grows desperate and offers all his jerky in exchange. Amused, Stenger finally agrees to show him. Stenger draws his sword and grips it tightly, closing his scarred left eye. He explains he must summon his inner world from deep within his soul. A blue glow begins to shine from his closed eye, then spreads to the blade itself. The sword radiates with brilliant blue light as Stenger declares this to be the soul of a knight. The glow becomes so intense that Vlad must shield his face, stunned by the display. Later, they approach the city under cover of darkness. Stenger complains bitterly, but Vlad assumes he is talking about their filthy appearance and says it is better to blend in. Stenger corrects him, grumbling that sneaking through a hole in the wall wounds his pride. Vlad explains he was ordered to bring him in quietly, and using the main gate would draw attention. Stenger sulks like a child, but Vlad urges him forward and promises a hot bath later. As they move through the hidden passage, Stanger remarks on the unnatural silence. Vlad shrugs and says it is simply the hour when everything sleeps. They soon encounter several lifeless bodies lying ahead. Stanger asks if this is normal. Vlad quickly says it is not, and guesses the men fought each other. Sensing danger, Vlad suggests they split up. He offers Stanger directions to a secret back entrance used only by his organization. Stanger asks where Vlad will go, and Vlad explains he will head to the main gate to draw attention away. He promises they will regroup soon and leaves without hesitation. When Vlad reaches the shop, he is horrified to find it wrecked. Amid the destruction, he finds Jorge badly wounded and wrapped in bandages, with Marcela tending to him. Jorge greets Vlad warmly, relieved he returned alive, and reveals that Money Grubber Jack was behind the attack. He admits it has been a long time since he fought someone at night level and that the battle left him gravely injured. Jorge asks whether Vlad brought Stanger. Vlad confirms he found him, but explains they had to separate because the main gate was watched. He says he gave Stanger directions to the back entrance and expects him to arrive soon. Jorge seems pleased and reveals their plan to strike Jack the following day to end the conflict. He asks how Stanger looked. Vlad says the knight seemed, well, kind-hearted and surprisingly agile. He adds that Stanger can use aura, which fills him with hope. Instead of relief, Jorge looks stunned. He cannot believe it. Vlad hears footsteps and assumes Stanger has arrived, but Jorge suddenly draws his sword and orders Vlad to stay behind him. He asks Vlad if he is absolutely certain about the aura. Then Jorge delivers the chilling truth. Stanger cannot use aura at all. Before Vlad can react, the imposter knight steps into view, and with a sinister tone, the imposter greets Jorge, saying it has been a long time since they last met. The man calling himself Stanger is revealed to be an imposter named Godin. Earlier, in the Frozen Mountains, Godin had slain the real Stanger. After wiping blood from his blade, he mocked the fallen knight's age, blaming the winter cold for his weakness. It was there that Vlad unknowingly encountered him, setting the deception in motion. In the present, Godin stands before Jorge wearing a twisted smile, remarking on how much Jorge has changed. Jorge demands to know why he has returned. Godin calmly delivers the news that Count Gaithar is dead. Though the death has not yet been announced publicly, Godin assures him the truth will soon spread. He pours himself a drink and openly mocks the late Count, raising a cruel toast meant to provoke. Jorge explodes with rage, cursing him and charging forward with his sword. Godin does not move. At the last instant, he vanishes with terrifying speed, shattering the glass with his blade and mocking Jorge again by toasting the rise of the new Count, Sigmund. The insult cuts deeper than steel. Jorge realizes Godin is not only celebrating Gaithar's death, but welcoming the rule of someone even more monstrous. Despite his injuries, Jorge attacks again. Their swords clash violently, shaking the room. During the duel, Godin reveals Sigmund's command. Jorge, branded a deserter, is to be brought back at once. Jorge refuses outright, declaring Sigmund no lord of his and denouncing the cruelty of the order. Godin admits Sigmund never expected compliance or survival. The fight intensifies, but Godin's overwhelming speed keeps him firmly in control. Sensing the danger, Vlad rushes Marcela outside, urging her to flee. He orders the others to gather upstairs, trying to warn them, but the battle reaches them first. Jorge is suddenly hurled through the floor, crashing down in front of everyone. Godin bursts through the wall moments later, mocking Jorge for his stubbornness. The room falls silent as Jorge struggles to breathe, broken and helpless. Vlad reacts on instinct, throwing the dagger Jorge had given him. Godin deflects it effortlessly. Without hesitation, Godin leaps down, sword raised to finish the job. Vlad screams for Jorge to move. With the last of his strength, Jorge barely escapes the killing blow, collapsing again to his knees. Godin questions why Jorge ever defied his orders. Jorge answers that he could not obey something so cruel that he chose to remain human. Godin coldly reminds him that knights are not men first, they are weapons. As Jorge's allies rally behind him, Godin decides the fight has dragged on long enough. Closing his left eye, he murmurs that he desires peace. Vlad recognizes the warning too late. Godin's aura erupts. His sword and eyes blaze blue as glowing lion-shaped marks appear on Jorge and his men. A devastating wave of energy explodes outward. Vlad is thrown aside as the blast annihilates everyone near Jorge. When the dust settles, silence remains. Jorge's men lie dead. Godin has vanished. Jorge is left alive but shattered, staring at the carnage, blood dripping from his face as the weight of his failure crushes him. Vlad stares in horror. Memories flood him, Jorge finding him as a street child, believing in him, shaping him into something more. That pillar of his life is gone. Under the pale blue moonlight, Godin reappears, holding Jorge's severed head. Vlad freezes, clinging to hope until the truth becomes undeniable. His world collapses. Overcome with grief, Vlad grabs Jorge's sword and screams in anguish. A voice in his mind urges him to stop, but he ignores it and attacks. Godin dodges easily, but something about the strike catches his attention. Vlad's form is precise, the art correct, far beyond what a slum-born boy should manage. Godin is intrigued, unaware that Vlad once survived a strike of black lightning. He admits his surprise aloud. Vlad attacks again, fueled by rage. Godin fires an energy blast, but Vlad deflects it mid-air and lands a powerful blow that sends Godin flying and disarms him. For a brief moment, Godin realizes Vlad may possess something rare, an instinctive gift. But Vlad's body cannot endure it. Pain overwhelms him and he collapses. The voice urges him to breathe, to endure. Godin considers killing him, snuffing out that potential. Then he remembers Jorge's belief in guarding those with promise. With a faint smile, he chooses otherwise. He tosses Vlad 2 pieces of beef jerky, the same ones from their journey, and reveals the truth. His name was never Stanger, and he is certainly not 42. This, he says, balances their deal. Godin makes one thing clear. Jorge's head is his rightful prize. Vlad glares at him, swearing vengeance. Godin laughs, unimpressed, mocking Vlad's weakness one last time. He turns away and leaves through the hole he created, carrying the head like a trophy. On his knees, shaking with rage and grief, Vlad screams after him, repeating his vow. One day, he will return. One day, he will kill Godin. After the destruction, Jamina helps the wounded Vlad to his feet. Every step sends pain tearing through him, and he presses a hand over his wound as sweat pours down his face. The agony overwhelms him, and he collapses to his knees, gasping for breath. Just then, his mind drifts back to the ruined shop. He remembers lying curled on the floor while Marcella stood over him, ordering him to get up. When he did not respond, she slapped him hard, forcing his attention. She asked him what separated those living comfortably in the heart of the city from those rotting in the slums. Vlad had no answer. Marcella gave it to him. Opportunity. City folk could fail and recover because they had room for mistakes. People like them did not. One failure meant losing everything. She gestured to the bodies and wreckage around them, saying this massacre was the price of a single slip. Grabbing Vlad by the shoulders, she told him not to waste the one chance life might give him, because for people born into hardship, that moment might never come again. Back in the present, that lesson ignites something in Vlad. Jamina notices his condition and suggests slowing down, but Vlad refuses. There is no time. With her help, he forces himself up. Just then, an enemy soldier spots them and shouts that he has found Jorge's underling. Adrenaline surges through Vlad. Moments ago, he could barely walk, yet now he is sprinting. He grabs Jamina's hand and urges her to run faster, knowing their lives depend on it. They race through the alleys as their pursuers close in. Vlad realizes their home is gone and their old life destroyed. Staying means death. He thinks of himself and Jamina as young birds forced from the nest, with no choice but to fly. Somehow, they slip into the chaos and vanish. Behind them, the hunters are left confused and furious, arguing over which path the children took. Their leader orders every corner searched and promises a reward. As he steps forward, his face is revealed. It is the same ponytailed thug Vlad humiliated earlier at the shop when Moneygrubber arrived. That encounter cost him teeth and pride, and now he is desperate for revenge. Driven by the reward, the goons scatter. In their haste, they rush straight past a nearby door, left slightly ajar, never noticing it. Inside, Vlad and Jamina sit silently. Vlad grips his dagger while Jamina stifles her sobs. As the footsteps fade, Vlad realizes they cannot hide forever. He tells Jamina that when it is quiet, she must leave alone. Moving together is too dangerous. Jamina refuses, reminding him of his promise to Marcella to get her somewhere safe. Vlad urges her to go to the convent before sunrise or seek out Harvin, but she will not budge, breaking down in tears. Frustration finally boils over. Vlad snaps, calling her an idiot and admitting he cannot protect her right now. Shocked, Jamina cries louder, and the sound gives them away. A voice demands to know who is inside. Jamina grabs a knife. A man enters holding a lamp. It is the blacksmith. He recognizes them and demands an explanation. Jamina immediately mouths off, calling him an old man and threatening him with a knife. The blacksmith argues back, but quickly sees that she is trembling, more terrified than dangerous. He gently tells her to put the knife down. Instead, Jamina demands the sword Vlad always stared at, insisting they are not safe without it. Vlad begs her to stop, but she screams at the blacksmith to hand it over. The blacksmith sees the desperation in her eyes and recognizes it well. After a heavy silence, he tells her her situation is pitiful, making it clear he will not give in. That refusal pushes Jamina over the edge. She charges forward with the knife. The blacksmith closes his eyes, expecting the worst. Instead, Jamina slashes her own long red hair. Shocked, the blacksmith watches as she offers it to him, begging him to take it as payment and promising to repay him someday. All she wants is for Vlad to have the sword. The blacksmith is speechless. He turns to Vlad and asks if he is truly leaving the slums. Vlad confirms it. The old man admits quietly that Vlad is doing what he never could, chasing a lifelong dream. Moved by their determination, he agrees to help. He hides Vlad beneath trash and dirt in a wagon and has Jamina walk behind him with her face hidden under a hood. He warns her this is the only way out. As they move through the alleys, a group of thugs stops them. The blacksmith curses them and complains about blocked streets and overflowing trash. Suspicious, the leader eyes the hooded figure. Thinking fast, the blacksmith claims he gave bread to a poor kid to help him work. The thug lifts the hood, but Jamina, disguised as a scruffy boy with short ginger hair, plays the role perfectly and convinces him. Before leaving, the blacksmith asks what they are after. The thugs reveal they are hunting Jorge's blonde-haired son. One insists on checking the cart. A thug stabs through the trash with a staff. Hidden beneath it, Vlad braces himself. The thug casually mentions Harvin putting a boat on the water, hinting something bigger is happening. He then declares the 40 silver his brother Ned once owed is repaid and lets them go. He knew Vlad was hiding and chose to return the favor for saving Ned. At the outskirts of the city, Jamina and the blacksmith dump the trash into a water channel flowing beyond the walls. Jamina says goodbye. The blacksmith watches, thinking of the sword Vlad now carries, a blade forged from a boy's dream and paid for with a girl's tears. Vlad emerges from the dirt, gripping the sword. He speaks to the voice in his head, asking if it can hear him. It answers that it can. When he asks who it is, the voice admits it does not know, despite its deep knowledge of swords. Vlad decides that it is fine. He asks the voice to teach him swordsmanship and promises to help it recover its memories. He does not care if it belongs to the devil. What truly haunts him is the fear that he may never be strong enough to face the godlike figure who destroyed everything he loved. Sometime later, in a snow-covered mountain range, soldiers camp beneath the banner of a noble house. Within a command tent, Joseph Bayezid, the second son of the powerful Bayezid family, is busy studying a large map, moving carved pieces across it as if the battlefield itself were a board game. He mutters that it is all too easy. The tent flap opens, and Zayar enters. The one-eyed soldier carries himself with rigid discipline, his scarred face betraying little emotion. He greets Joseph with practiced respect. Joseph returns the greeting but does not look away from the map. Zayar senses his young master's unease and asks what troubles him. Joseph admits the truth. The campaign feels wrong. The battle unfolded too smoothly. Zayar begins his report on the recent monster suppression, saying the operation went well and losses were low. Joseph listens, but his mind is elsewhere. The monsters do not worry him as much as the missing soldiers. Deserters or not, some troops vanished without any clear reason. There are no bodies and no answers. All Joseph has to show for the campaign are average results and men who abandoned their posts. That will not be enough. People will start to doubt him, his father, the other members of the family, and the vassals. And his stepbrother Rutger will be the first to take advantage of that doubt. Joseph falls silent, weighing the consequences. He knows what failure means in the Bayezid family. Power is taken, not given. He has watched his father and brothers claw their way upward, crushing rivals without mercy. If Joseph cannot secure his future as the next count, chaos will follow, and Rutger will show no mercy to those left behind. Time is slipping through his fingers, and loyal swords are few. Zayar is one of the rare men he trusts. Zayar steps forward again, this time with a different report. Joseph immediately assumes it concerns a spy sent by Rutger, but Zayar shakes his head. This soldier is unusual for another reason. He suggests Joseph will understand better if he sees the evidence himself. They walk outside to a makeshift shed where a goblin corpse hangs, its body twisted and mutilated. Joseph covers his nose against the stench and studies the wounds. He notes the uneven cuts and guesses the attacker was inexperienced, perhaps even a child. Zayar leads him to more bodies scattered nearby. Joseph criticizes the injuries as sloppy and repetitive, the work of someone lacking refinement. Then he notices one corpse in particular. A goblin lies split cleanly from torso to waist, the cut precise and devastating. Joseph kneels to examine it more closely. As he studies the wounds, a realization dawns on him. Despite the difference in quality, every cut follows the same patterns. The same hand made them all. Joseph looks up at Zayar. The one-eyed soldier confirms it and adds another detail. The goblins with crude wounds were killed a month ago. The cleanly slain ones died yesterday. Joseph straightens, stunned. No one improves that much in a month. Intrigued, he presses Zayar for everything he knows about the person responsible. Not far away, a group of mercenaries clashes with goblins in the snow. One man braces himself with a spiked club while another shouts for the line to hold, warning that any escapees will bring trouble. A spearman steps onto a fallen goblin and calls out that he can see the end of the fight, urging the others to finish it quickly. The men freeze. Behind the spearman stands a towering hobgoblin, its red eyes burning with malice. Before the man can turn fully, the monster brings its massive wooden club down, crushing his skull into the frozen ground. Panic ripples through the mercenaries, but they grit their teeth and stand their ground. The hobgoblin roars and charges, swinging its club with brutal force. One by one, soldiers fall. Those in the rear finally break and run. Their overweight commander screams at them to push forward, reminding them of their pay. The mercenaries shout back that they signed up to fight men, not monsters, and suggest he should have hired better fighters, or stepped in himself. As the commander fumbles for his sword to threaten them, the hobgoblin cuts down the men closest to him. Faced with death, the commander freezes atop his horse. Then someone steps forward. A lone figure walks calmly through the snow toward the monster. The soldiers whisper among themselves, recognizing the quiet man they know only as the praying remain. It is Vlad, hiding under another name. He announces, without bravado, that he will handle the creature alone. No one stops him. The hobgoblin notices him and charges. Vlad holds his ground and strikes as the monster reaches him, but the blow is shallow, a miscalculation. A voice in his head shouts for him to dodge, snapping him back to reality. Vlad barely avoids the club, sliding through the snow. He steadies himself, acknowledging the mistake. The voice scolds him for failing a move he had already been taught. But Vlad knows mastery is not instant. The hobgoblin charges again. Vlad braces himself, choosing patience over haste. The monster swings wildly, but Vlad slips away once more. Each miss enrages the beast. It slams its club into the ground, sending snow exploding into the air. When the white cloud settles, Vlad is gone. The hobgoblin hesitates, confused. That moment is enough. Vlad emerges, sword raised and faintly glowing, and charges. The monster turns too late. Vlad's strike lands cleanly, without hesitation. Back at the camp, Zayar finishes his report. Joseph listens intently, interest burning in his eyes. Without hesitation, he orders an investigation into this mysterious warrior. Zayar bows, placing a hand to his chest, and promises swift results. Left alone, Joseph lingers among the goblin corpses. His gaze lingers on the contrast between the uneven cuts from a month ago and the precise wounds from yesterday. The difference defies reason. Slowly, a faint smile forms. Perhaps, Joseph thinks, this boy is something rare, a once-in-a-generation talent. And that is it for today. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button and drop your thoughts in the comments. Until next time.